And we're live. Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're diving into a super important topic. Very relevant right now because everyone in the medical community and in the professional health and wellness space is talking about ultra processed foods. And I have a special guest today. We're going to be talking about, is processed food controlling you? We all know processed foods are everywhere. They're convenient, addictive, and designed to keep us coming back for more. But how much control do they actually have over our choices, our cravings, and ultimately our health? Joining me today is Amanda Sick, a passionate plant-based recipe creator who has transformed her own diet and lifestyle by moving away from processed foods. She now helps others discover how simple, delicious, and freeing whole food plant-based eating can be. And before we jump in, I want to remind you all that we've put together an exclusive vegan health bundle packed with resources from amazing creators just like Amanda. And you can grab Amanda's recipe book in the bundle. You don't want to miss out. There's a ton of recipes in there. I mean, you can't say you don't know what to eat because she's basically covered it all. All the foods you could find at the grocery store, you have something to do with it with this book. Amanda, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is why I love doing these bundles because it allows us to connect with, like-minded people and have these amazing conversations. So thanks for having me on.
Yes, and thank you. I see some folks already joining us live. Make sure you put any questions in the chat box so Amanda can answer them for you while we have this time together with her. I want to start with the big question. Why do processed foods seem to have such a hold on us? What is it about them that makes them so addictive, you think?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I mean, I would start with just saying for one, like they're scientifically made to be addictive. So these food scientists know what they're doing with these products. They know to put the right ratio of like sweet and salty and crunchy and whatever, but also just the chemicals the additives they add in there that, we're really not meant to be consuming. Like these ultra processed foods are, if you really look and see, like turn the label or turn the package around and read the label, and you see these things that are in there, it's like most of the stuff you can't even pronounce or you wouldn't find that in your own kitchen. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like these things aren't meant to go in our body naturally. And so it really does, especially when you're consuming these things for years and years, it really does take a toll on the body. And it's like, I mean, the human body is so resilient and it's an amazing, amazing thing, but it can only take so much. And when you're constantly, for example, I grew up eating all these ultra processed, junk foods and things like that. And it eventually led up to, me developing severe acne and just, you know, mood issues and stomach issues and acid reflux and all these things. And but I think what really makes it so addictive is just it's everywhere and it's so normalized, and it's, the chemicals they put in there to just chemically get your brain hooked on it, and you get this dopamine when you eat these things, and you just get hooked on that. But you're getting, you're taking in all these calories and these chemicals, but you're not getting an actual nutrition, and so your body just wants more and more of it because you're not feeding your cells, you're not nourishing your body. And so you're still hungry, and it tastes so good and it's so satisfying. So you just keep eating these things. And like I said, it's everywhere and it's pushed, on TV and commercials. It's there's fast food on every corner. And when you go to the grocery store, 90% of what's there is ultra processed, is, highly addictive stuff, and it's fake food really. And so that's, a huge issue that I try to, with my book and just with my platform and stuff, I try to encourage people to really, as best they can. I know it's not easy, but wean off the ultra processed stuff as much as you possibly can because it is addictive for sure.
Yeah, and I know like the biggest concern folks have is the time it takes, because when you buy processed food, it's convenience that you're buying. We were just chatting that like one of the recipes I'm excited to make from your book is the chickpea salad. I did
Mm-hmm.
see another one, which was like a barbecue. It had barbecue something, and I'm like, I know my digestive system can't handle the barbecue. But you have like, it's so versatile, like all the recipes, there's something there for everybody. But the one thing that most of them have in common is you will have to carve out at least 30 minutes in the kitchen to put stuff
Yeah.
together. There's just
Yeah.
no way around that. How have you kind of like dealt with this? Because I'm pretty sure it's come up when you've talked to folks. How have you kind of dealt with that time constraint issue?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely get it's a huge thing for especially like I don't have kids, but I can imagine like busy parents and stuff. Like I'm busy myself just working and, taking care of myself, but I can't imagine, families and trying to keep up with eating healthy. And I get it does take more time. I guess for me, it's just I prioritize it so much because I didn't eat healthy for so many years, for the first 20 years of my life. And it really did catch up to me. And I've seen, with people in my family, how it's affected them. And so I personally just try to prioritize and be like, okay, it is going to take this time, but it's very important to me because I value my health and I want to put the best food into my body as I possibly can. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but then again, you don't have to spend, hours on hours in the kitchen. There are very simple ways to, find ways to make meals that do take, 20, 30 minutes to throw together that are simple, whole food, plant based, healthy meals. And like the chickpea salad, for example, that you mentioned, that's one I make almost every week and I have it on hand. And you can it's super simple to throw together and you can use it in different ways too. You can have it in a sandwich, on a salad, just by itself. Um, and another section in the book too, I have to help save time in the kitchen is on like food prep ideas. Um, Kind of goes in with meal prep, but it's not necessarily like making just one, a few different meal like whole meals. It's more so food prep and ingredient prep. So you can like say on a Sunday if you have time, take a couple hours of your Sunday to prep these things ahead of time and you can utilize different ingredients and overlap and, combine these ingredients throughout the week into different meals. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, you could make, a batch of quinoa and a batch of cook up some sweet potatoes in the oven and then cut up your greens and your veggies for the week and make a couple dressings and cook up a batch of lentils or beans and kind of utilize those throughout the week in different ways. So you're kind of getting a variety and you're eating different things every night. If you don't want,
Mm-hmm.
some people like eating the same stuff and it's totally, personal preference, but I like to have a little variety. And so I kind of like to find ways to, one night I'll make tacos, but then the other night I'll make a bowl, but using similar ingredients that are already prepped ahead of time. So that's one way to, help save time. But it does take, if you're used to eating, microwave meals or processed meals, like, and to go from that to like cooking, actually cooking in the kitchen and prepping food, it's definitely an adjustment. And I guess I've just gotten so used to it because I've done it for so long and I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't enjoy it, unfortunately. So for those people, I would just say, know why you're doing it and know, that it really is beneficial for you. And if you have kids, it's for your kids. The best thing you're doing for them is, prepping the food in your own kitchen. And again, it doesn't have to take hours. You can find recipes, like so many of the ones that are in the bundle that take, 20, 30 minutes to throw together.
Yeah, yeah. How did you in the transition from where you went from eating a lot of processed foods to eating whole foods? Like, how did you manage to find the time or fit in the time? What was that journey like for you?
Yeah. I think it started off I would just make small changes here and there. I didn't like go drastically overnight and I always kind of even when I was in high school before I was eating healthy, like I because even in high school I still ate a lot of fast food, but I kind of just got interested in cooking. To be honest, when I grew up, my parents, like I said, we grew up on fast food and stuff, so my parents didn't cook a lot, and so I think maybe that kind of made me curious of like, like I didn't really see my parents cooking much. I'm kind of interested in that, like I kind of want to
Hmm.
try to cook. I'll cook for myself. Like, so I kind of started playing around in the kitchen even then. And then once I got into college, I was like, okay, I'm on my own now. I have to figure this out. Um, and so it just kind of came naturally to me, like the love for cooking. And then once I
Mm.
changed my diet and decided, okay, I'm going to stop eating all this processed stuff or at least cut it out, limit it, and then I just naturally was like, okay, well, and then going vegan, I'm like, I need to play around and figure out what I can make with these foods, these new foods I've never had before, like something like tempeh or even tofu. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. So I kind of just experimented in the kitchen and took it day by day, and it just got easier and more enjoyable for me. Um, but yeah, you know, it is hard when you have a busy lifestyle, and you can only do so much. So don't be hard on yourself if, you have to go pick up food one night and you're not, feeling up to cooking, like it's okay. It's just try I would just say try to like 80-90% of the time just try to have those home cooked meals as much as you can.
I love that. And I think it's really interesting what you said that your parents didn't cook and so you were excited to try something new and different. That gives me hope,
Mhm.
because so many people um, don't really know how to maneuver in the kitchen. And I guess I didn't. So my family, they cooked. Like my mom cooks, and she's one out of eight children, right? So all the women cook. There's five girls and three boys. The boys, they cook. They cook for themselves. One of them even had a restaurant. He cooks really well. So, but I didn't, since there was so many people in the kitchen, I just really didn't. But, and I, at the time, like when I was younger, I was really into baking. It just felt more like a science experiment. And of
Mhm.
course, I loved brownies and stuff like that. So it was fun. But yeah, when I started my vegan journey, it was like an exploration, and it seemed very much like a natural transition from my childhood. But to hear you say what you said, that you can even come out of a home that doesn't really do home cooked meals and
Yeah.
do this, like get off the processed food and get into the kitchen, actually enjoy it. I mean, I feel like that is a message of hope for
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
who have that lived experience, and also the practitioners who really want this health revolution to really take hold.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's so important because so many people, so many kids grow up the way I did and they don't know, they get into be an adult and they don't know what to do in the kitchen. And so they just continue that cycle of just eating out all the time and just buying, pre-made microwave meals and stuff like that. And so I think it is important to, if you do have kids, like if you're parents that are listening to this, like try to get your kids in the kitchen and get them to, you know, cook with you and get them excited about it. Cause not everyone will be like me and how I did and want to be in the kitchen if they didn't grow up being in the kitchen cooking. So if you have the opportunity to cook with your kids, I think that's very important to start them at a young age.
What for anyone who is watching, right, who may be feeling stuck in this cycle of processed foods and cravings, what are your top three tips for making the shift to a more whole food lifestyle?
Yeah, good question. I would say one thing that helped me is start with first, just look at, something that you can easily take out as far as like start with one thing that you can change. Like if you're someone that eats a lot of processed foods or drinks a lot of soda or something, maybe start with I'm going to cut out soda. Like I'm still going to eat what I eat, but I'm maybe going to start with the soda because I know that's not good for me. So maybe I'm going to start with that. And then from there, you'll realize, I feel a little better doing this. Maybe what else can I do? Now that I know that I can cut out the soda that I didn't think I could give up, what else can I do now to eat healthier and start incorporating more whole foods? Another thing is to figure out a couple meals that you really enjoy and just look up recipes on how to make a healthier version of that. So if you really like pizza, look up, there's so many recipes. There's even a pizza book in the bundle, like plant-based pizza book in the bundle, but there's so many recipes on how to make healthier versions of a pizza or tacos or nachos or like my barbecue cauliflower recipe that you mentioned, that's kind of a healthier version of like barbecue, you know, boneless wings or something. Not saying the cauliflower tastes like wings, but you get the idea of like
It's
there's
better.
always a yeah, 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 I agree. I agree. It's there's always a way to make a healthier version, and with desserts too. I mean, that's up my alley for sure. I had a huge sweet tooth as a kid, and so a lot of my recipes, for brownies and cookies and stuff like that, there's always a healthier version that you can, you still get that satisfaction from the food and enjoy it, but you're not putting all this crap into your body. So that's a good way. And then just um, another tip, I guess, would be just don't be too hard on yourself and just know that you're not perfect and like it's okay if you slip up every now and then and go back to eating something that isn't the best for you. We're all human and we're going to make mistakes, and you can't expect yourself to go a complete 180 overnight. But one way, another tip that I just thought of too is through juicing. That's been something that's been really powerful for for me when I was like healing my skin issues and stuff, and um, juicing, even when I wasn't eating as healthy as I do now, I started juicing. And by doing that, it really kind of helps reset your taste buds and gets you to crave these healthier raw foods and these whole foods. And it really does, like, if you, not saying everyone has to jump on like a juice cleanse or something like that if they're not used to it, but just incorporating a juice, a green juice into your life, like, and trying to do that and get consistent with that. Even if you're still not eating the best, if you're flooding your body with that nutrition, you're naturally just going to start craving more of those whole healthy foods. So, yeah.
I love that. And I love the points you were making about the mistakes. When it comes to addiction, you know, relapse is part of the journey. So, like, how you're looking at it is really a matter of how successful you're going to be on this journey. So, if you do have a slip up for some reason, be curious about it. You know, like, okay, I had a bag of chips. Why? Did I not plan in advance? Did I, get too hungry? You know, things like that. Making sure you have the snacks that you need. You want to be curious about the situation. Use that as an opportunity to really investigate the modifications you need to make to your lifestyle in order to, be consistent. Jan is here with us. Jan, thank you so much for joining us. She says, my problem is that I'm so used to going back and forth with my commitment. I was going 180 every couple days. Now I'm trying to not put so much pressure and go slowly, but sometimes old habits win. Yeah, and sometimes you need the extra support maybe from a coach to really be in a space where you can pause and reflect on what is actually going on. Because if you've already found that every couple days something is switching, something may be triggering that switch that's happening every couple days. You want to kind of investigate that. What's going on there? Is that a biological thing, an emotional thing, something else, something in between? But it's good to do some self-reflection.
Yeah, that's very important to know why. Yeah, see, what's causing you to turn to food. Because a lot of people, I know your book in there, your contribution is about like stress eating. And I think that ties in as well because a lot of people do turn to food as like a coping mechanism, and it's like a comfort thing. And so when you are having a bad day or you're just, not feeling the best, but then it's unfortunate because it's so easy to get trapped in that cycle of like, oh, I feel crappy, I'm going to turn to this, this crappy food, and then you want more of it, and then because the crappy food's going to make you feel even worse in the moment, it might give you that dopamine hit, make you feel good, but then it's just gonna, if you get caught in this cycle, and so many people, unfortunately, it's hard to break that cycle once you're in it, but it's definitely possible. So many people have done it. So
because my journey was, I didn't work on emotional eating first. I just made changes, right, to the food part. So I still emotionally ate, like if I wanted something comforting, I would make a smoothie with almond butter and banana, and I felt like that, especially if I packed in like a lot of bananas, one banana is fine, but 2-3 bananas with almond butter, ooh, we are feeling good, and it's like, it has that, it had for me, I don't really do stuff like that anymore, but it had for me, it served its purpose in that time where I didn't have to like have ice cream and stuff like this, because that was still, feeding a feeling to make me feel good. And I wouldn't necessarily feel like crap, after. And sometimes, I think even too with some folks with the processed food, they're eating the food, not necessarily feeling like crap because their body has never felt what clean feels like.
Yeah.
So they don't even know,
Yeah. They're not in tune with their body and they don't know what it is to feel good. That's so true.
Yeah. So they're doing it, and it's like it's slowly killing them, because honestly, like we just talked about blood pressure earlier today on the channel, and that's something that you don't always have symptomology for. Type 2 diabetes, it takes 7 years to see that on a diagnosis. So you may not notice things going wrong,
right.
Until you're in a crisis situation. And that's the tricky thing about processed foods. It's like a slow
Mhm.
killer, you know?
It really is, yeah. And it's yeah, you don't have some people, and the human body is so resilient too, and it can put up with so much. And
Yeah.
like it's pretty amazing, but it just shows you yeah, how much you like. For myself, I lived off of this stuff for like 20 years, and luckily I was, very active as a kid, so I think that kind of helped a little bit maybe. And when you're younger, I think you're a little more resilient to these things, but it does catch up to you. Like I started the thing that really triggered my desire to really make a huge change was I started getting really bad acne when I was like my early college days, and I had always had like really painful periods and like acid reflux problems and like migraines and stuff like that. But I just thought that was, you know, I don't know. I figured it was just normal and just people just deal with these things, but it's really not
Hmm.
normal. Like it's not. It's so normalized to have people just going around not feeling well, and especially as you get older, people say, "Oh, you're just getting older." You have all these health issues, and people just normalize it, or they think it's, "Oh, my mom had this, so I'm going to have this," and it's that doesn't have to be the case because it really there are people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that are thriving and that are feeling great and that are able to, work out every day, and it's all because of how, for the most part, it's all because of how you take care of yourself and the foods you put in your body and the lifestyle that you choose to live.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of food, let's talk about the delicious food that you've been making. What are some of your go to whole food meals that are easy for beginners to make and enjoy?
Yeah, let's see. Well, the chickpea salad is definitely one of those. I do make that often. It's very easy to make. I like making big salads too, like to get a ton of veggies in. And I'll make a the key to a good salad, I think, is having a variety, but also a really good dressing. And I'm not talking about the store bought stuff because those are filled with a bunch of crap. But it's really simple to make if you have a good blender, especially. To make good salad dressings. With I do like a tahini garlic one a lot. I'll do like I have like an almond butter based one too. I mean, I play around with all different ones, but you can get creative with it, and that makes a lot more enjoyable to eat a big salad. Um, a lot of I'll do like tacos with veggies, or like I really like mushrooms. Like a lot of I didn't even know about like years ago. I didn't even know about all the different types of mushrooms that were out there, like oyster mushrooms and lion's mane. And there's a lot of creative ways, or ways to get creative with those types of foods, to make it more exciting. Um, but yeah, just keep it simple too with, certain like bowls with, have your some type of grain, some type of veggie, a healthy fat in there, your protein source, and then I do try to eat. I'm not all raw, like obviously eat cooked food, but I do try to incorporate as much raw food as I can because I definitely feel my best on like high raw. So I advocate for anyone out there to just try to focus on adding in more fruits and veggies and more fresh foods. Even if you're still eating processed stuff or you're not exactly where you want to be yet with what you're eating, like just every day, just try to incorporate some fresh fruits and veggies and just try out a new vegetable that you maybe never had before, and see how you like it.
Yeah, that's the fun part of this journey is trying new
Hmm.
foods, and just
Yeah.
exploring all the stuff in the store that we don't even know, most people don't even know about because
Yeah.
it's not in a Big Mac, you know?
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
four foods that they have available in these fast food places. Like there's just so
Right.
much more available
Right.
for our healthy gut, so we can have a healthy brain and a healthy
Yes.
skin, right? The microbiome heavily,
So
heavily
important.
impacts the skin. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
important. Yeah, your gut health is everything, and I think that's what happened to me. I know that's why I started getting severe acne. And once I learned about the connection between your gut and your skin, and your gut microbiome and how to feed those healthy bacteria and stuff, it's very interesting and it's very true. Like your gut is definitely like your second brain. Um, some people would say it's more like your first brain, but so when you're all, you gotta, yeah, it all starts with your gut too. It is connected to your mental health, and to have a healthy gut, you have to be eating healthy. So,
Yes, yes. And since you mentioned the brain, it's important too when we talk in the context of processed foods. the impact that this has on the gut bacteria and the neurotransmitters that are sent to the brain that feeds into the cycle of always going back, right, into this unhealthy relationship with these unhealthy foods. You had mentioned the salad dressings. These salad dressings on the shelves with emulsifiers and stuff actually puts it in the category of an ultra processed food because it's, shelf stabilizing, ingredients that
Right.
is disruptive actually to your digestive system, to your gut microbiome. And the reason why folks struggle is part of that pathogenic gut bacteria that's like, yes, I want the chips, I want the cookies. It's basically telling your brain this, and folks are
Hmm.
believing that it's their thoughts. Not all the thoughts you have are yours,
Right. It's your gut
right?
microbes talking to you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're possessed, basically.
Yeah.
So we need to just tune out the noise and
Yeah.
like bring the prefrontal cortex online. And so like in my contribution, you mentioned in the bundle, Beat Stress Eating is a training where I go into the neuroscience of unhealthy food addiction, what that's about, right? To understand, because I think if we understand how our brain is working, we can take back the power and not let these foreign substances and these parasites basically could dictate how we're living our lives and walking us to early death, basically. Believing these thoughts that aren't even ours and they're not true. So like for me, personally, like if I have the thought, oh, I want chips or something like that, I know I don't really need chips, but I may want minerals. The body may want some minerals. My mouth may want some salt and some
Hmm.
seasoning, right? Some flavor, some excitement, which your recipe book is full of. Like the chickpeas, even the barbecue cauliflower. When I lived in LA, I used to have that all the time.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
time. But these are like all these different flavors. You go to the healthier version, you try it, and then your microbiome changes. And
Hmm.
so you'll start to crave these healthy things, like you were saying before when you were talking about the juice cleanses, because you basically, with that, you're doing like a gut reset.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's where intermittent fasting comes in too. It's very beneficial to fast. I mean, don't overdo it if you're not used to it, but I've gotten so used to it over the years that the most recent, I actually did a 7-day juice cleanse, and I felt amazing as far as the mental clarity and just the energy levels and just the lightness that you feel. It just, you get more in tune with yourself, and it's a very amazing feeling. But don't I wouldn't act I wouldn't say everyone needs to jump into that because most people aren't ready to do even a day on just juice. But just wean into but intermittent fasting too. Just give your digestive system a break and your gut a break, because we don't need to be, especially when we're eating these processed foods, like we're overeating them, and we don't need to be eating them as much as we are. I mean, it's best to not eat it at all, but let's be realistic. Most people, are going to have some processed foods, but I think just giving your body that time to because digestion is such an energy intensive process too, and especially if your body's trying to digest these fake foods that you're eating, that's going to make it even harder. So intermittent fasting is a good way too to break some of these cravings, because it really does reset your microbiome.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. I love everything you said. And for like for me in particular, what for me to get off bread, which was that was a thing which was surprising because I'm like, why am I attracted to bread? I don't like bread like that, but it was hard to get off bread. Water fasting was very beneficial. 24 hours was all I needed to reset the palate of my mouth, and then also you have to make the commitment to not introduce it again because then you're gonna
Yeah, that's
want
where
more
the
and more.
discipline comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do a water fast longer than 3 days, you definitely need to talk to your doctor. I mean, just at the bare minimum, talk to your doctor before you do any kind of fast or change your diet. Because
Yeah.
there's a few things that need to be, taken into account. Is if you're on medication, right? Some
Yeah.
of it needs to be managed. Like if you're doing a juice fast, there's certain fruits that can be contraindicating to certain medication.
Yeah.
If you're doing a water fast and you need to have food with your medication, if you're pregnant, you're most likely not supposed to be doing a water fast anyway. So there's like these little nuances for folks depending on what your situation is.
Mm-hmm.
And the medical establishment, they recommend if you're going to water fast for more than 3 days that it's supervised.
Mm-hmm.
But with all that being said, yes, fasting definitely has its place. And I really appreciate you, Amanda, for bringing this up because it is important. I think, too, in the transition, you're going from ultra processed foods, which are void in fiber for the most part, to eating whole foods, which has all this fiber.
Yeah.
And at the same time, not enough folks are talking or emphasizing drinking adequate amounts of water. So now you're having like lots of fiber, not
Mm-hmm.
enough water, digestive issues, you
Yep.
know?
And
And
then people think, well, I'm not meant to be eating this way, and then they go
yeah,
back to, or they think, oh, I can't eat veggies. It doesn't sit well with me. It's like your body's not used to it yet. You have to,
yeah,
yeah,
you have to give it time. You have
yeah.
to give it time. So thank you so much. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I know for many, many people, your recipes, they look delicious.
Thank
I
you.
encourage all of you to download her book in the bundle. And it's amazing to realize how much control processed food can have over us, but also how simple it can be to break free. We just need to have the proper plan in place and have the right mindset and, of course, the right resources. If you're making that transition, you have all these recipes that Amanda's created to help you in that transition to find whatever kind of flavor profile you're looking for. Texture, I know texture is really big when folks are making changes. So for everyone watching, if you're ready to take control of your health and enjoy truly nourishing, satisfying meals, you need to check out Amanda's recipe book in this exclusive vegan health bundle. It's packed with incredible recipes that will make eating whole foods easy and delicious. And this is only available for a limited time. So you want to make sure you jump on it as soon as possible. Diane, thanks so much for joining live. She says, yes, extra fiber and extra water. People's microbiome will adjust. Yes. We got to give it time. Have some patience, have some grace with yourself too. Like Amanda was saying,
Mm-hmm.
it's not perfection that we're going for. We're looking for progress and improvement with our health, which honestly, I don't know what it was like for you, Amanda, but I would assume you saw some improvement with your skin and your body and overall health pretty quickly, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Your body resets pretty quick. Like, definitely, especially when I was juicing and doing more of the raw foods, I would notice, yeah, a lot more clear skin. And the longer I did it, the better I felt, which made me want to keep going and see what else, how much better I can actually feel. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about high raw is that you can have all the delicious cooked stuff as long as you eat all the raw stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You just load up on raw and then,
Hmm.
have the cook, because in the cooked vegan food arena is where you can satisfy and indulge all of the cravings and addictions for all of salt, the sugar, the fat. And when I say sugar, I'm talking about like syrups and even in some of the vegan recipes. I'm not sure in this bundle, but some of the vegan recipes that are floating on the internet, they use things like coconut sugar and different stuff like this, right? Maple syrup and stuff like this. With raw foods, it's harder to feed addictions, when you're doing
Yeah.
100% raw. So it's like high raw is that like happy medium to be in
Yeah,
a
it's a good
very comfortable
transition
space. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Amanda, where can people connect with you if they want to learn more?
Yeah. So my Instagram is at plant_creations. And then I have my other Instagram is at amanda.sick. And I post more like fitness stuff on there and just overall health and mindset stuff too. And then my website is myplantcreations.com. I have my online apparel store on there and then more recipes and my ebooks on there too. And then YouTube as well. I'm going to start getting more serious posting on YouTube. But it's plant _creations on YouTube as well.
Nice, nice. And thank you, all of you, for joining us live. And for those of you watching the replay, Amanda's information and her full bio is in the description to this video, along with the link to get your hands on the bundle and download her recipe book. So thank you so much for being here, Amanda. And to everyone watching, thanks for tuning in. Stay inspired, stay nourished, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.